the Capital Wasteland, a location once the American capital and one of the most powerful places on Earth, reduced to rubble. However, in between the rubble lies factions and remnants of a forgotten era. But would this be the same in real life? Well, for that, we must analyze the science, history, and a dose of speculation to distinguish what is really true about the Capital Wasteland. We also first must discuss what Fallout really is. Fallout within itself is speculation. What people in the 90s thought the people in the 50s thought the world would be like, then speculated what it would be like after it got nuked. Now, we can't speak of the Capital Wasteland or Fallout in general without mentioning the Great War. The war that destroyed most of the world in lore, and this wouldn't change in real life. What seems to be told within lore is that the bombs were both launched and dropped. This isn't accurate, as people in the 50s wouldn't be thinking about launching, and instead would be going as if the bombs were dropped instead. Especially since a megaton, it shows not a nuclear rocket, but something you would find dropped on Hiroshima or Nagasaki. Therefore, it's a lot easier to find and destroy a plane than a missile, especially when they have to travel to the other side of the world. Therefore, Washington D.C. itself would look more akin to New Vegas than one might think at first glance. It would actually be the surrounding regions around the capital that are eviscerated. China, in spite of their tech, would not be in better shape, and nuclear war would eventually subside. As for the rest of the world, they may not receive as much nuclear fire, but they would succumb to radiation, nuclear winter, and famine. For an offshoot, people wouldn't be able to survive via Vault, as it lacks too many natural resources like vitamin D, and if people didn't simply go insane, they would starve out. Therefore, no one would be able to stay in them very long. However, that's not the Capital Wasteland's problem per se. People would still survive, as the human species, according to science, is as durable as one of the radroaches you see in the wasteland. The difference and the politics would not subside in the capital, like the rest of the world may temporarily put aside their differences. The Capital Wasteland itself will only be desolate and gloomy for a few years at most. There would be no megaton because the people wouldn't settle there unless the children of Adam did, and even they would not gain enough followers to have a real impact on the Capital Wasteland. The Brotherhood of Steel wouldn't exist, as any technology in the Capital Wasteland is going to be used to either barter or leverage another populace. Not to mention the power armor in Fallout isn't feasible. Now, an exoskeleton isn't impossible to make. However, for the sake of Fallout, it would exist more akin to the first Iron Man suit and run on a type of battery. These may erupt even more in the Great War, considering there are no longer large battlefields, but instead, skirmishes where armor like that can make a big difference. Not to mention, cars in general would be used similarly. They'd be rare and only for a few, but still around nonetheless. Then there's the Enclave. A government faction would come forth after the Great War. Some shadow government, some regular officials, and the difference won't be as great or as necessary to maintain. Too bad for them, it wouldn't last long, as they too would have internal infighting over resources and would eventually scatter of whatever remains into other factions that are arising. So at the time of Fallout 3, there would be no Enclave. What about the super mutants? Although someone wanting to create the forced evolutionary virus is feasible, no one wanted to put resources into it instead of basic necessities like water and food. Not to mention, for general wildlife, there would be no Asian bear or two-headed deer/Brahmin. 200 years isn't enough for this type of evolution. Instead, it would be domesticated animals becoming feral and creating problems for the locals. All is not well though, as the Capital Wasteland still has access to weapons and power armor and technology more than most parts of the world. It's far more likely we would see mercantile factions arising, this more resembling feudalism, as the competing for resources will make the few start to hoard, and many humans want to serve the few, especially if 200 years later there is newfound money to be had. Not dissimilar to prior to the Great War. For currency itself, it wouldn't be either bottle caps, paper money, or regular coins. It would be a barter system, as none of these factions will allow the other to simply mint their money. Or even the culture, as people are afraid of unchecked capitalism for its involvement in nuclear warfare. The newfound government of the Capital Wasteland would be more equivalent to Nova Scotia. For the elephant in the room regarding the main quest of Fallout 3, which is procuring water for the wasteland, and this is still a viable scenario, just not the way you think. Water wouldn't actually be all that irradiated in the Washington area. Not enough to have people thirsty in the Capital Wasteland. However, there would be a constant worry of drought, nuclear winter, and even fires starting. As for human trafficking in the Capital Wasteland, it wouldn't be worse than today. In fact, it may be less than today. These days, people in human trafficking can afford to have the people they capture expire. This isn't the case for the Wasteland, where it's simply more logical to work with someone else instead of destroying each other over slaves. After all, in caveman times, mankind didn't simply meet each other and instantly start killing over dominance. They had more important things to worry about, and it would be similar in this scenario. So, bottom line, not much of Fallout science holds up in real life. And that's perfectly okay, as the genre is retrofuturism. Everyone, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, you're already my friend. If you really want to mean the world to me, please like and subscribe for more content, or even tell me what you think in the comment section below. And always remember to live the game.